千里之行，始于足下。A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Derek, can you share with us some of the books you read about the Tao or use as reference for your work? There are other related questions to this, some of which I have to think about. There are other questions like, do you have like an updated reading list of the books? Well, today I had a suggestion of a book to look into, and that was The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. Quite a title. The books that are more centrally Tao oriented, I have to think about that. Another related question was, do you have a translation of I Ching that you can recommend? Very difficult for me to recommend anything because I work directly with the original, as I will show you here. So this is just a photo of my bookshelf. This is the bookshelf that is within the closest reach. These are the books that I can get at just by reaching out with my hands. So some of these books you probably recognize. The books on the left-hand side, you'll see the Daodejing translation, which is called Daodejing Annotated and Explained. So that's there. And then the other books, so that translation is from Skylight Paths. That is the SLP that you see at the bottom there, Skylight Paths. The other books, the other 4 books in English are from Penguin Random House. So the first book from Penguin Random House is the red book that you see here, The Tao of Daily Life. This one came out with a splash because there was nothing else like it. So it was different and it got a lot of attention. It got quite a few awards. So I'm happy to have that with me. Sometimes I make references back to the stories that I tell in the Tao of Daily Life. So there are so many stories that I want to tell that I had a follow-up volume called The Tao of Success. This is the book that a lot of you know about that originally was called The Tao of You. It was renamed to The Tao of Success, and it has more stories, 25 stories in all, more stories than The Tao of Daily Life. And these are also the stories that I would say are my favorites. The 25 stories are divided into 5 areas, each one representing an ancient ring of destiny. Hence, in a translation of this book for the Italian readers, it's called The Tao of Destiny. And that's a very good name. That would also, I think, be a better name than The Tao of Success. Here, success is strictly in context of success in every aspect of life. Materially, spiritually, everything. Then there's also the Tao of Joy every day, 365 days of Tao living. This is the one that I recommend to most people when they ask about getting into the Tao for the first time. And I recommend it because it is easy. It's 1 page per day. There's not a whole lot to absorb, and yet just reading 1 page per day can set the tone for the entire day. And the most recent book is The Tao of Happiness. This is perhaps the book that I am the most proud of because in my mind, this finally does Zhuangzi some justice in telling Zhuangzi's stories the way that they were meant to be told. Not only that, but it conveys the concepts surrounding life and death that Zhuangzi had been teaching in ancient times. So when we get into the next chapter, chapter 26, it'll talk about being very serious and deliberate when it comes to dealing with these weighty issues about life. So I think no one does that better than Zhuangzi. He deals with these issues in a very serious way, and yet he's also able to infuse a lot of humor into his teachings. So those are the books that are easy to recognize, and the other books are all in Mandarin, so they are much tougher to understand. So from the immediately to the right of the Tao of Joy every day, we have a book here whose title basically is Lao Zi, he says. So this is a book about, surprise, surprise, Lao Zi, about the Daodejing. Then we have a series of 3 books. Let me point out that there's a symbol here, Shang, which is replicated here. And in the same position, you've got Zhong, which means middle, and then you've got Xia. So Shang means up or high, Zhong means middle, Xia means low. Here, all it means is volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. So these particular books here are from a Grandmaster, Grandmaster Chen. It'll show his surname as Lin. That's the result of a cultural issue that maybe another time I can explain, but just stick to the main point here, that what it says here is Daodejing, and then it says that it's a plain spoken explanation, and it's divided into 3 volumes. These collect the lectures from the Grandmaster and explain with very culturally attached examples on the meaning of the Daodejing chapters. So because they're so heavily infused with cultural references, it's actually very difficult to translate. And it's the same with most of these other books. They're all steeped, immersed in Chinese culture. The book next to it is another Grandmaster who was quite well known as an expert on the Daodejing, so this is his book. And then we got 2 more books from a master, Master Huang, who was quite well known as well as a lecturer of Daodejing. And then the 2 books that I probably rely on the most in that, when I look through all the different books, I see that these 2 actually contain explanations that are authoritative and definitive, and I would say about 95% accurate. So it's hard to find perfection in the world of the Daodejing, but these are some of the best. And then we got 2 more books that are also on the Daodejing. Daodejing is also known as the Lao Tzu, so they are used sometimes interchangeably. The next 4 books, 3 books. The next 3 books, the blue book here, the one next to it, and then this bound volume here. These are all Zhuangzi. So these are all books about the teachings of Zhuangzi. And as you can see, don't quite have as many volumes as I do the Daodejing. Well, there's actually a lot more books on Zhuangzi that I have. They're just not within easy reach. So I'm just showing you the books that I can get at quickly. So the title of this blue book here on Zhuangzi, it says, if I were to translate it, literally it says carefree wandering Zhuangzi, followed by 4 characters there, which means chicken soup for the soul. So it's become an expression, and it's used here to denote the fact that this book is Zhuangzi, the teachings of Zhuangzi apply to the spiritual life. So several books on Zhuangzi, and then 2 books to wrap it all up at the very end here on the 6th patriarch. So that's another favorite topic of study. I'm going to work on translation as well. You guys can already see a lot of translations from the 6th patriarch platform Sutra. They are made freely available on the Daoism.net website. So So wow, that's a lot of books to go through. I hope it gives you an idea. These are the books that I use most often. And then in addition to this, I have another several shelves of books that can be used as references when the need arises. But these usually contain everything I need. So you can tell now, because of this, it's hard for me to recommend the translation of the I Ching because it's very difficult to get to perfection when it comes to translation. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us travel safely. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.